50,000. That's a stretch goal that will like cause us to really, really try really hard and get people there. And so we like planned and we strategized, and we decided like what's the most kind of spectacle is the wrong word, but like what's the most impressive thing that we can do? We're like 4 days. Nobody had ever done anything like this at this scale in this industry before. So we did the summit, and then we launched our company, and we had 101,000 people in that first year sign up for that summit.
Welcome, Darrell. Thank you so much for joining. And we have this is the last session of the day, and I saved the best till last. Everything was the best. But to me, I've been a fan of yours ever since you were. So a little bit of background about Darrell Vesterfelt. Like I said, he is the VP of Growth at Mighty Networks. But I knew him from the days when he was a Copy Blogger partner. If you all know Copy Blogger, it was really kind of one of the first blogs that appeared on the scene that sort of married the copy blog, the blogging movement with copywriting. So that now people who were blogging about whatever they were interested in knew how to sell online. Started by Brian Clark. I knew him because he became a partner at Copy Blogger, and he did some great podcasts for the Copy Blogger podcast. And then I've been following Darrell's career ever since. I was fascinated by the fact that he launched this. He did a summit that was you attracted 180,000 registrations, right? To this summit. It was the Traditional Skills Summit that was designed to launch the School of Traditional Skills. It's basically a series of courses in a school to help people do some homesteading. People who are exploring homesteading, wanting to become homesteaders, live in a ranch somewhere or what have you. And then he organized the Creator Economy, the Creator Summit. Was it the Creator Summit or?
Yeah, Creator Summit. Yeah.
Or the Hey Creator Summit, which again attracted thousands and thousands of people. And now as VP of Growth at Mighty Networks, just like the speaker we had before, Kevin, Brian Funk, he is strategically using a combination of summits as well as other marketing strategies to grow Mighty Networks. Welcome, Darrell. How are things? Where are you located right now, in Ohio or
Minneapolis?
In Minneapolis. Okay, so definitely a lot colder than Ohio. Welcome, Darrell. I'm just gonna read a little bit about his. I think I've said everything I could, but you've helped customers build $1 million communities in the past year, more than any other platform. That's what Mighty Networks has done, right? So yeah. Well, thank you. Welcome, Darrell. What, first of all, and I think that you might have had some things prepared for the talk, but what I wanted to know was what got you started in being a summit organizer? Why did you start with doing summits?
Yeah, so I actually started with webinars long time ago, Fernando. I think I taught my first webinar in like 2012, 2013. And it's because my friend Jeff was doing it, Jeff Goins. And Jeff was having lots of success with his webinars. And I'm like, I'm going to try this. And so I remember like getting a bunch of contraptions set up and like this light, and I put like a few books up on a laptop on my kitchen table, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to try to like do this like webinar thing. And I taught a webinar and it just worked. And so the summits were like an evolution of all the webinars that I've taught over time. And then when I was the head of growth at ConvertKit, now Kit, I taught 150 webinars in 12 months. And the reason I did that is because they just worked. And so that was the evolution. Is it started with webinars. I taught a lot of them over time. And then the really like the first time I really dove into doing a summit was in 2022. It was the first time I really did it. And this was the launch of the School of Traditional Skills. I had two really amazing partners, Josh and Carolyn Thomas, who were my co-founders in the School of Traditional Skills. I was the marketing guy behind the scenes. They were the face of the summit, and we were launching this brand new company, and we had taken on investors in this new company, and we raised over $1 million to build out this brand new software and all this beautiful content. I'm like, man, we've got to really hit the ground running here with this summit or with this company. And so how can we attract the most amount of people as we possibly can? And like a webinar is fine, but a webinar happens like over an hour, and it's usually about one topic. And we wanted to create a spectacle. And so we were like sitting in a room, we were sitting in a conference room in Bonners Ferry, Idaho, which is where Josh and Carolyn live. It's like 2,000 people in the most northern part of Idaho. And we're sitting in a conference room at their office, and we're like, what's our wildest guess of how many people we could get there? And we're like, 50,000. That's a stretch goal that will like cause us to really, really try really hard and get people there. And so we like planned and we strategized, and we decided like, what's the most kind of spectacle is the wrong word, but like, what's the most impressive thing that we can do? We're like, 4 days, 4 people a day for 4 days. We're going to stream basically like all day. Maybe it was even 5 people. So it's like 5 people a day for 4 days, 20 people. And we're going to go. And now, who are the biggest people we can go? And so we spent 9 months building this plan out, Fernando. And, wow. And then we're like, okay, what kind of affiliates can we get to promote this thing? And, because we had raised a little bit of money, we had money to do Facebook ads. And so we're like, all right, if we can get 50, I think we can really have a great launch of this company, and we can really make an impact here. And to like our surprise, like nobody had ever done anything like this at this scale in this industry before. So we pulled in like, if you're aware of homesteading, it's like we pulled in Joel Salatin, who's like the biggest name in homesteading. We pulled in Justin Rhodes, who had 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and it was just a lot of fun. And we did the summit, and then we launched our company, and we had 5,000. So we had 101,000 people in that first year sign up for that summit, which blew away our
your original estimate.
Yeah, for 50,000, which was like the biggest number we could imagine having people there.
Yeah.
And then we had 5,000 of those 100,000 people sign up for our subscription afterwards. I'm like, man, we went from nothing a week ago to 5,000 people as members of our community right away. And so it was like, they just worked. And so, I had never really thought about someone's getting to that scale before. But, what we wanted to do, like kind of the thinking that evolved after that is we started seeing people in the comments say things like, if they do this for free, I can't imagine what happens when I pay them money. And so we just started to build like a point of view around marketing in this way where it's like, this has always been true. If you serve people, and if you overserve, and if you give away so much, people are like, oh my gosh, a lot of trust and rapport is built in a way that when we started selling something, it really worked. So we did that in year 1. In year 2, we did it again. We had 187,000 people register in the second year. And then in September, they just wrapped up their 4th annual summit. And they've had over 100,000 people every year for 4 years. And it's been an amazing, amazing event. And so I took that and I'm like, great, we can do this in other places. So we did the Hey Creator Summit that had 26,000 people register for it. We've done many summits at Mighty Networks from a software company. So this works for courses. This works for software companies. This works for coaching and consulting, because we've done it for coaching, like high ticket coaching and consulting as well. It works in so many different areas. And the reason we do it is it just works. It's, in my opinion, one of the best ways to display value to a group of people in a way that's meaningful.
So there's so many things I want to unpack here, but I think one of the interesting things, because in the theme of this summit has been kind of like how you can design a category for yourself and then kind of boost your category through writing a book, doing a summit, and doing founder-led marketing, and then amplifying that with AI. So we've had speakers in all those buckets talk about that. But it seems like as though, and I wanted to ask you about the whole homesteading thing. There was probably already a homesteading movement, but I think you guys kind of almost, maybe you didn't invent the category, so to speak, but you kind of almost became the school of traditional skills became, would you say it was kind of became one of the leaders, or maybe the leader of that sort of homesteading learning movement?
Yeah, I think it would be presumptuous to say we were the leader at that point, but here's what I knew for sure, Fernando, is we were launching a company that nobody had ever heard of before. So we were launching something from nothing. And so it's like, oh my goodness, like how do we get people to be aware of us? It was like creating an event that large, like all of a sudden now we became known. So whether or not, like I don't want to be too arrogant and like too assumptive to think that we were maybe the leader. I think probably we were a leader in that space for sure. But what I know for sure is that a week before that, nobody had heard of us. And a week after that, we had tens of thousands of people following us on social media. And that to me was the big deal, was the difference of it gave people an opportunity to know our brand, and it gave us credibility out of the gate because we got to associate ourselves with the top people in that industry. So the Joel Saladins and the Justin Rhodes and Sally Fallons and all the people who are at the top of that industry were speaking on our stage, and that lended credibility to us because they're like, oh, they must be serious because these people showed up at the stage. And then, oh my gosh, how many people are registered for this thing? How many people are live? Like when you have 100,000 people registered, the chat goes so fast. We actually broke StreamYard. We had to like send in a ticket and be like, hey, like our site's crashing, like what's going on, we need more support. And so they had to like up the bandwidth of their whole product for one of our events. But it was like those kind of things lended credibility to a brand that hadn't existed before. So immediately our brand felt real and felt great. And people took us seriously. And I'd like to believe that when people think of homesteading, they think of School of Traditional Skills. But I think that probably takes 10, 20 years to become like that kind of name in the industry. But I know for sure people took us seriously after that.
I mean, you didn't just do a summit. You did do a spectacle, but essentially it was a lightning strike, because the definition of a lightning strike, and I'm paraphrasing what the category pirates talk about here, is something big and momentous that generates lots of attention and sort of galvanizes, like with a single event, kind of like that lightning strike, puts you on the map, right? And so what you did with that is you didn't do just a regular summit. You had this kind of crazy idea of getting 50,000 people to register. You blew past that and 2x the number, and then the next year they even they almost 4x'd it from the original goal, 180,000, right? And so that was just the pure fact of having that sheer number of people register and doing it in a summit and getting all these prestigious influencers and famous people in the homesteading space. I think, what was that lightning strike that put you guys on the map? They went from zero to a viable $1 million company, right?
Yeah. So, we were $1 million company in our first week.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's fantastic. So I want to get into a little bit about Mighty Networks, et cetera. But first, I kind of wanted to go a little bit backwards with ConvertKit, now Kit, which is what I actually use. I've been a ConvertKit fan for a long time, ever since they launched. But you all did hundreds of webinars, which is a type of, it's a type of a summit, or a summit is a type of a webinar. It's a series of virtual events. So was that kind of like the key growth lever for Kit? I'm just kind of wanting to understand the role of webinars in the growth of Kit, and what they were trying to achieve, which was to be the newsletter, or which is to be the email marketing platform for creators. They had a very specific point of view, right?
Yeah. So when I came in, we actually called ourselves the email marketing tool for professional bloggers, because that was how long ago. So that was like 2014, 2015, 2016 range. I don't know when they switched over to creators, but I don't even think the word creator was really a synonymous term. It was still, everybody was a blogger back then.
Right.
And so that was what it was. It was a very niche product. And I think there's two things that I think were success. Were the indicators of success. And I think that oftentimes people get these two things switched around. So what we did in those early days, in 12 months, I taught 150 webinars, and that drove I think it was like $350,000 of MRR just from those webinars alone. So just that one channel. So if you think about 350, it's bad to do math in public, but I'm going to pull my calculator. 350 times 12. That was $4.2 million of annual revenue driven from one single channel. So people hear that often and they're like, oh my goodness, I should go teach a bunch of webinars. And I think that's a mistake. And here's why. Because I think the real reason that ConvertKit had that growth is because they found product market fit. And I think that once product market fit was hit, all we had to do is find the single channel that was going to get great results and just do that over and over and over again. And what I see a lot of people do is they try to do the thing over and over and over again and it doesn't work. And they try to do another thing over and over and over again. It doesn't work. They try to do another thing over and over again and it doesn't work. And the reality is they've never found the product market fit for their company or their product in a way that's meaningful. And so that would be like an example of that, Fernando, would be like you're driving a car and it's like pointed towards the ditch. And then you decide to hit the accelerator and it just goes into the ditch and it goes nowhere and you get stuck, right?
Right.
But like with product market fit, it's like you're on the road and then you hit the accelerator. And I think a lot of times people forget to find that product market fit, or they don't take enough time to find that product market fit. And so product market fit kind of feels like this. And this is kind of how you know you get product market fit. It's the difference of feeling like I'm pushing the boulder up the hill or I'm pushing the boulder down the hill. And the reason that we were able to get product market fit is because Nathan, who's the founder of ConvertKit,
Nathan Barry, yeah.
Barry, he built a product that he needed for himself, right?
Exactly.
So it was like he wasn't unaware of what the market needed because he was the market.
Mhm.
So he built the product. So he built the product exactly the way that he needed it. Now, it wasn't that good at the beginning. And so it took time of like hearing from a couple customers what else they wanted and needed. And it took a lot of time. And then Nathan started doing one-to-one calls. So he was the founder and CEO of the company. He started leading the sales process and he would sit on these sales calls and he would hear all the objections that somebody would have. And he got to the point where we understood the market so well that we became the best version of an email marketing tool for professional bloggers. And people were like, you're crazy. Like, haven't you heard of MailChimp or ActiveCampaign or Drip or any of these other things that were out there? Like, they're for small business or they're for everybody. And it was like, yeah, but I think our competitive advantage is that we are the best tool for this group of people. And because we found that product market fit, it was like, it didn't matter that the professional blogger world was smaller than the small business world. But like, there are tons of different kinds of small businesses, Fernando. There's like service businesses, there's e-commerces, there's brick and mortar. And inside of brick and mortar, there's like, tanning bed salons. And then there's also like coffee shops. And like, there's so much different. But we were able to go to a smaller group of people and say, we are the best for you. And by the way, we're for you because we are you. And we made a product by us for us. And it helped us find product market fit. So when I came into ConvertKit, Nathan had already started seeing the signs of product market fit, meaning like people were signing up like kind of regularly. And you kind of look around, and you're like, oh my gosh, this thing's rolling downhill and I'm not even doing anything. And you're starting to hit that. And I think the mistake that I see a lot of people do is they like have products that are really boring, or they like try to make them professional, or they try to make them like sound interesting, and they lose the kind of like edge of the personality. They lose the edge of like remembering what it felt like when they were a younger version of themselves having that same problem.
Yeah.
And they listen to way too many like podcasts and advice, and so they never find product market fit. They probably have a good product or service, but it doesn't have that product market fit. And so all they're doing with all their marketing is just pushing a rock up the hill. And the second that they stop marketing, by the way, that rock just rolls back down to the bottom and they have to start all over again. And I have seen so many small business owners do this over and over and over again. But when you have product market fit, it's like you don't have to do anything. It's rolling and you can't stop it. And I think that's what ConvertKit had early on is Nathan spent, I think it was 3 full years making almost no money, having to pull out of his own savings account to fund the growth of the company or fund the developers of the company. And then it was like, then it started to click. And after that, but like it was those 3 years of finding that product market fit that made the webinars really work, right?
Yeah.
And so then I came in, and I'm kind of like mentally ill, where it's like I just can do one thing and I'm going to do it over and over and over again. If somebody's going to do it 5 times, I'm going to do it 500. And so I just came in and I'm like, oh, this webinar worked because we got product market fit. We knew what people wanted. And I'm like, how many can I do? And I'm going to figure out how many I can possibly do. Sometimes I was teaching 3 a day. And so I was just going to town. Any affiliate that would let me teach a webinar to their audience, I would do it. Fernando, I would teach in front of 1,000 people one day, and the next day I would teach in front of 3, and I did not care. I was going to teach this webinar in front of everybody, but in every room that we showed up in, our message had that resonance because we had product market fit. So I think the growth at ConvertKit was those 2 things. It was like Nathan, and this was to his credit before I got there, spent 3 years finding product market fit. And when we found that product market fit, then it didn't matter. Like I'm not as smart as him. And so then I just kind of came in, and I was like the baseball bat that just kind of kept hitting it over and over again because it was already working. And so that's really what happened at ConvertKit. And so when I joined, I signed my contract. We were about $78,000 a month in recurring revenue. 15 months later, when I left, we were at $750,000 a month. And webinars were more than half of that growth by themselves, which was really fun.
So
one program.
So it sounds like as though you did a lot of borrowed audiences, right?
For sure. We didn't have at the beginning. We didn't have 2 pennies to push together. I couldn't buy a Facebook ad, but I had friends who had audiences. So I'm like, hey, I'll give you 30% of anybody who signs up. So it was like literally, we didn't even have enough money, Fernando. We didn't even have enough money for Nathan to buy me a plane ticket to fly out to Boise to strategize together. We had to do it over back in the day of Skype before Zoom existed.
Oh yeah, of course, Skype.
And so we were Skyping back and forth. We had like 2 or 3 weeks of runway in the bank. We couldn't even like spend it. So Facebook ads were out of the question. But we knew that we had friends who had audiences, and we made it really compelling for them to share as well. So we kind of created that like perfect triangle of like people who had audiences, making it really compelling for them. We knew we had a product that worked, and we knew that we had a message that really kind of captured that product market fit together. So we had a lot of fun, and I worked a lot of hours, and we saw really great results. But I think the biggest like non-obvious thing is like I started out doing 8 different programs. We were like podcast and blog and all these things. Yeah. And the reality is like one program drove $4.5 million of revenue for us in a year. And we didn't need a bunch. We needed one, just one. And you need to find one. When you have product market fit, you need to find one channel that works and just do that over and over again. And then, by the way, by the time we were done with that, we had a team that could do the blogging and the podcast and all that other stuff. We could pay for more resources because we had more team. It took one channel to build that momentum.
You had more revenue, you had more cash flow coming in, et cetera. So and I really love Nathan's story too, because, and your story, but like I heard about him, slogging away at $2,000 a month is what the revenue of ConvertKit was for a while. I mean, it was like almost an imperceptible rise. It was the kind of the typical hockey stick thing where it was like, going up just very little by little. And then finally, it was like, finding the good product market fit, and then the webinar program, and then that uptick, the hockey stick uptick. Well, that's fantastic. Now now tell me a little bit more. Tell me a little bit about Mighty Networks. So you've joined as VP of growth at Mighty Networks. And what is our events or summits, webinars, et cetera? Is that a kind of a key channel for Mighty Networks as well?
Yeah, so I'll tell you the story of Mighty Networks. I've been creating online courses since 2013, and community then became like another way of delivering education and content, and it was really important in the creator economy. And I met Gina, who's the founder of Mighty Networks, at ConvertKit's conference, Craft and Commerce, a couple of years ago. Gina and I hit it off, and we had lots to talk about. And she asked me to be an advisor for the company, and I was like, I'm so honored. I'm happy to. Like, she loved the growth that we had at Kit. She loved I understood the creator economy, and I came in as an advisor. And I got an email about a month and a half later from one of Mighty Networks' competitors about a summit they were doing. And I just forwarded that email to Gina, and I said, hey, you should let my agency do a summit for you, because I've had really great results, and here are some of the results that I've had. And she's like, we're in, let's do it. And so she hired our agency to do a summit for them. And this was in October of 2024. We did a summit for them, and I think we had about 10,000 people registered for that summit. Really great results
Wow.
from that summit.
Mhm.
And Gina called me after the summit was all over, and she said, actually, like, would you consider consulting with my company more regularly, and we could do more of these events? And I'd be like, I'm happy to. And so I came on as a fractional head of growth for the company. Then we had a really great quarter after that. And then Gina and I had a conversation, and I said, hey, I think you should just buy my agency and let us become the growth marketing team for your company. And so in May of this year, Mighty Networks bought the agency that I started after I left ConvertKit. And I became the VP of growth at Mighty Networks. And so, yeah, we've I think we did 4 summits this year at
Mhm.
Mighty Networks. I know that the team has done another probably 15 or 20 webinars. So live events are definitely a big part of what we have done for growth at Mighty Networks this year. And the other thing I learned this year, Fernando, which is another kind of opportunity, is paid challenges. And challenges are becoming a really cool way of getting people to engage in your content too. So
Oh, tell me about
um,
that. Paid
yeah,
challenges. What's all that
yeah,
about?
yeah. So we're starting to see this I think when people start doing a lot of the same things, so we've seen summits become a thing now that kind of everybody is doing. But I remember when I started doing them again in 2022, by the way, I was not the first person to ever do summit, but they kind of weren't cool anymore. And then I started doing them, I started talking about them, and then I started seeing other people doing them. And so you kind of see summits happening all over the place. And it's not that they don't work anymore, but it's just like now it's a part of a larger noise of lots of summits and webinars happening. And then it will become not cool to do it again, and then it'll be cool to do it again. And just kind of go in these. It's not like they go out of style, but it's kind of these waves of
These
like
waves, yeah. Yeah.
these waves. And
Yeah.
so, but one of the things that we've seen really working now is like another way to kind of break the noise of like when the volume kind of goes up with lots of people doing summits and webinars, like you want to do something different from everybody else. And
Yeah.
so we just look for a different style of event to do, and challenges are a really great way. So, I mean, instead of live streaming 5 days with 5 different speakers, we stream 5 days trying to accomplish a goal together as a group. And we've seen that be a really effective way to basically take the exact same I mean, like, we get on day 1, we stream something, day 2 we stream something, days we stream, but like we just reframe it as something different. We call it something a little bit different, and we move people towards the challenge. The slight difference is like a summit is like we are here to inform you and to teach you. A
Mhm.
challenge is like we are on a quest. This group is on a quest together, and it may be an individual quest, but all these individuals are on this quest to achieve this thing. And we've seen it be a really cool way to get people on our list in a way that's really compelling and fun.
Now,
So
challenges, I feel like as though challenges got its start in the fitness world, didn't it?
they did, for sure, for sure. Yep,
Yeah. 'Cause,
yep, but
there was like, let's have a challenge of losing 10 pounds by the end of this
yep,
time period,
yep.
or, building, I don't know how much muscle mass, et cetera. But it seems like as though it's kind of jumped over into other industries. So like, tell me an example of a challenge that you've done
Yeah,
recently.
so I'll tell one about my friend Justin Moore, who I
Who I met, we were both
yeah,
together at the CEX conference in August
yep.
earlier this year.
Justin I think just today he wrapped up so he teaches about how to get brand deals and sponsorships. So
Mhm.
he's got a whole book called Sponsor Magnet, which is somewhere back here on the shelf. If you are a creator who wants to learn how to get sponsors, read his book. It is literally like $2,000 worth of consulting in a $20 book. Like it's worth it 100%. So he teaches creators and influencers how to get sponsors. Well, what's the challenge there? And so he does a thing called the 10K brand deal challenge, where he teaches his whole framework and then actually has people start practicing reaching out to sponsors and getting sponsorship dollars. And so what's really cool about the way that he does that is, it's like you can in he does it in 7 days. You probably can't lose 30 pounds in 7 days, but
Right.
like he can have people start reaching out and getting brand deals, and so they're getting a result before he ever asked them to spend money on his offer later. And I think it's a brilliant way. That's what's so cool about the challenges is, hey, actually, like, maybe I think he sells his challenge for like $97, so it's a really easy choice to
Mhm.
make. It's not I think his offer is like $10,000 or $12,000, but it's like imagine you come in here for $97 and you like get your first brand deal. You're like, oh my gosh, this guy knows what he's talking about. And I get to see results, or I get to see the results other people in the room are having. And then when he gives this offer, people have already, it's like all of the objections that somebody might have about buying this product are gone
Yeah.
because they get to see how he teaches, they get to see how valuable his content is, they get to see if it actually works. It's
Yeah.
like a living testimonial. It's a living objection crusher, which I think is a really brilliant way of marketing. So we're seeing challenges really, really work for folks, and it can happen in fitness. It can happen in like we've seen challenges like in yoga and meditation and lifestyle. We've seen it in business. We've seen it in brand deals. We've seen it all over the place. So you can really, like, if you get really creative, you can come up with a challenge that works for almost any brand in a way that people can get results before they ever make a larger commitment to your company.
Perfect. And I just want to encourage everybody. We still have a lot of people on the call to go ahead and make some comments in the post some questions in the comments, whether it's the StreamYard comments or the Hey Summit comments. Ask questions, make comments, give us your experience. So, I know everybody's a little bit tired because we've been at this since 11 a.m. Central Time, but Darrell is really, one of the top people if not the top person in the summit and events organizing space. So, yeah, fantastic. So, I wanted to delve in a little bit more into, into Mighty Networks, right? So, tell us a little bit, because I think there's a sort of an intersection between doing events like summits and challenges and community, right? And so Mighty Networks is obviously a community platform where you could create a private community. There's other companies that do similar things, right? You have School, you have Circle, et cetera. Mighty Networks is one of the top, one of the leaders in the space. But, is there like some kind of a hand in glove connection between doing events and building communities that you can talk to?
It's all about people, Fernando. And I think the best businesses in the world have people at the center of what they do. And so I think that's the connecting glue between all of it, is hosting events and people. It's really about people. So here's my point of view on community that I've really changed my mind about, is I used to believe that creating a course was the easiest way to start making money online. I don't believe that anymore. I believe that if you are an entrepreneur and you are thinking about building a business online, I actually think that community is the best, most effective, and easiest way to start a business online. I've completely changed my mind about it. And here's why. I think AI is completely and fundamentally changing the way that people learn. Completely and fundamentally changing it. And I also think it's like completely and fundamentally changing the way that we engage in the world. And being a course creator now, also like being a course creator in 2011, which was the first year that I created a course, it was very new. There were very few people who were creating online courses. And it was like, oh my gosh, I can make something online and I can learn online. I used to have to like go to the library or go to a book or go to a class at a university or something. And now I can do it
community college or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly right. Now everybody's doing it. And now like even platforms like Teachable are like, will AI create a course for you? And it's like, it's just a bunch of, at this point, it's just a bunch of slop, and it's a very crowded market. And by the way, why am I going to sit down for 2 hours and watch your course when I could go have a conversation with ChatGPT and learn it in 17 minutes? Like, there's no way. It's just, things are fundamentally different. The other thing is, to be a course, you've got to be an expert.
Yeah.
Right? Because like, if you don't know what you're talking about, like, why am I even learning from you? So like say I'm wanting to start a business. I'm like, well, what am I an expert in? Like, I've got to come up with a framework or a point of view or like a way of teaching this in a way that's meaningful. That's a lot of work. It takes time. And then, by the way, to sell courses, I have to have a lot of people on my email list, or I have a big social media, because like 100 people are going to see it, but only 2 people are going to buy it. And by the way, that's a pretty good conversion rate if like you have 100 people on your list and 2 people buy it. And so here's the thing about community is you can make a significant impact with a small group of people without having to have an audience and without having to be an expert in anything. And when I met Gina, she taught me the process that Mighty Networks teaches about starting a community online. And it completely changed my point of view on this. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is completely different. So I teach this thing called the first 30 members, which is, Fernando, you have this phone right here, and you probably have several hundred people on that phone.
Yeah.
If you could find 30 people that you invite on a quest or a journey together on some sort of transformation, they will come with you.
Yeah.
Right. And what we know to be true is that 30 members hits that critical mass point where like that group going on a quest together can see meaningful results. And we also know that communities have an average of $48 a month, or about $500 a year. Well, what's 30 times 500? It's $15,000. So 30 people, inviting them into a community could result in $15,000 of revenue. That's like a believable thing. And you don't have to have a huge social media. You don't even have to post on TikTok one time. Like Fernando, good news. You don't have to dance on TikTok one time.
And
you
don't have to
can
go
just
viral on LinkedIn. Yeah.
you can take a thing. And by the way, you don't have to be an expert to invite people to go on a journey with you. You just have to be the one who has created the journey that we're going on. And so that to me is like community's completely blown my mind, because what it's really about is like business is about getting people results, right? Community is one of the best ways to get results, right? It's why AA is like the most successful way for people to break addiction. It's because they're doing it with other people, right? They're on this quest and journey together. It's why things like CrossFit are really meaningful, because like people are getting results together, and it's like about the group and the way that we're doing it together. So like community is one of the best ways for people to get results, period, in general. And so it's like, if it's about getting people results, it's like, that's amazing. And so community is actually not only the thing you're selling, but also the vehicle for results. And Fernando, if you can help people see a little bit of change or result, like you will be in business for a long time. Like this is why anybody that you know that's a vegan, you for sure know that they're a vegan, because they probably started eating vegan and had some sort of amazing health result, and they can't help but talk about it. It's like they got to tell everybody, you know? It's like they try to make everybody vegan like them. CrossFit people are the same way. Carnivore diet people are the same way. It's not because like they've all of a sudden become like an evangelist for that particular thing. They're an evangelist for the change and transformation that they've gone through. And then it's like automatically that business, remember that rolling down the hill idea here? So kind of making it full circle. Absolutely. It's like, that's what's happened. If you can create a community that actually helps foster transformation for people, and by the way, it doesn't take 300 people, it takes 30. So if you get 30 people and you can create an environment where they can have some sort of change, they won't be able to help but tell other people about that transformation. And then they're doing the work of marketing for you. So it's just like, there's this like, it's all about people, Fernando. It's all about people. And I think the reason I love the community as a business so much is because, again, just like the webinars, it just works. Yeah. And so I've become all in believer that community is like the easiest, because again, you don't have to go build a huge email list. You don't have to get started. You just get started with 30 people, and 30 people gives you the meaningful number that gets you moving, and also gives the meaningful amount of critical mass of people to have great conversations and to be moving together. And then it's like you've got the momentum to like build a substantial business after that. So there's two things that I wanted to tell you about my point of view about community, and this is what I've been observing, and the conclusions I've been coming to. Number one, community is sort of like the AI antidote in a way, right? It's like if everybody is closed off in their individual homes, I'm in my house, you're in your house, and all we're doing is we're interacting with ChatGPT and Claude all day, and we're posting on social media. It's very isolating, right? And you feel it's almost like a sterile environment, right? Whereas community is a way for us to sort of get back in contact with other people that we share the same goal, we share the same path that we're going on. Number one. Number two, and I've seen this through people like Mark Schaefer and other people, is that community is sort of like the new civic institution in a way, because the civic institutions have sort of stopped being meaningful. It's like
back in the medieval times and even the Renaissance times, it used to be the church, right?
Yep.
And then we had boys, then within the last century, we had the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, and we had, there was the military, being a soldier, and then all these traditional areas, but it was largely a church, there was all these areas where we felt community, and all that stuff is kind of breaking down. I think the United States has experienced a serious drop in church and people going to church. And so community is, I think, kind of replacing that. It's kind of a way to say, okay, I need somebody who is like me, who I can interact with, who I can share a journey with, who I can bond with, and I feel like as though that's what community does. Let me ask you this. You talked about community as a way for somebody to start an online business, right? So the easiest way, and your mind changed on whether it was, it used to be courses and now it's community. But what about somebody like yourself, who is the head of marketing or growth for a software company, CEO, founder of a software company, or founder of any kind of a company? Can they build? Can they grow their own business? Selling their service or products by building a community.
Absolutely. I was at an event earlier this year, Fernando. It was called The Gathering. It was in Banff, Canada. Wow. And it was CMOs of companies like Range Rover and Harley Davidson and all these amazing brands. It was about 2,000 CMOs and head of growth. And I'm telling you right now, the number one topic in that room of top marketing leaders was community. Number one. An example of this is there's a company called Next Playground. It's this little box that has a bunch of games on it, and it projects games out, and it's really taking off. And they have 10 million units sold in the last little bit. It's this amazing product. The founder and CEO of that company said, "I am in our customer community every single day. Every single day." Do you know why he's in the community every single day? Because he's looking for better product market fit, just like Nathan was when he was sitting on all of these calls. And so I think community is actually critical to the growth of any company. And I for sure know that you can use community not only to hear and listen to your people better, to continue to refine product market fit, but as a vehicle for growth in your company as well. So yes, 100%. Yeah, 100%. It is an amazing way. We have very large brands on Mighty Network that use Mighty Networks for communities, and Athletic Brewing is one of them. Noon is another one, and so large companies who are using community as a part of their growth strategy, it's for sure a strategy that can work for other folks as well.
Yeah, Amber Grainer said that community empowers people, which I think is, I love that. The thing about, golly, I think I forgot what I was going to say, but the power of community, I think is huge in that, like you said, it takes only 30 people. If you can convince 30 people to join you in a community, you can have the beginnings of a thriving, either a thriving business or a thriving, business development type of environment where you also share a common cause, and I think it's funny because with the community, you can almost have an us them mentality. Humans are tribal, right? That's why you have, these fervently passionate soccer fan groups in Europe, and now you're seeing those in the United States, right? With Austin FC, the Verdes, and the Portland Timberwolves and all that kind of stuff, because people like to be in groups together. But with regards to community, there's another speaker who's coming tomorrow, Rachel Starr, who's going to talk about how she's built a community through summits. Okay, that's one of the things. But talking about Gina Bianchini, who is the CEO of Mighty Networks, there's an interesting connection between Gina and the category design topic that we were talking about earlier today. I interviewed Christopher Lochhead, who is like one of the category pirates. He was one of the original authors of Play Bigger, that book that was published in 2016 about category creation. When I interviewed him for the book that I published last year called The Startup Book, he mentioned Gina Bianchini as a prime example of a company that, I don't know if
he didn't tout her as an example of somebody who designed a category, because there was already the category of community, but as somebody who has really kind of gone, very positive on the community category, but somebody who also wrote a book, right? So, here, I'm going to share my screen quickly, because, my whole methodology is, category design. You write your book about it, the startup book, you have your summit, you do your founder-led content, and you amplify it with AI. I need to add community there somehow. But she was so we've talked a lot about people who design categories and write books about it, and then become thought leaders in their space as either category designers or category high value category participants. So Gina has written the book about what is it? What was the name of the book that she wrote? Purpose. Okay, got it. So what I really love it is, Gina believes in what HubSpot does, Gainsight does, writing a book to educate the market on the importance of. So she's educating the market, and Mighty Networks is educating the market on community, not educating the market on on Mighty Network software. And that's your strategy too. When you came and you came as a sponsored, you sponsored CEX, right? The Content Entrepreneur Expo, but you didn't talk about Mighty Networks. You talked about building community, right? Which I think is so cool, and it kind of aligns with this whole with this whole mindset that we're talking about over here.
Yeah, it's like in the software world, like oftentimes people make the battle about features.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, well, we've got this and we've got this and we've got this. So it becomes like this arms race of like, who's got the best product and features. The reality is that what it's really about, it's not about features, it's about results. Right? And I don't care if you have half of the features and you get double the results. It doesn't matter. People don't care what features are of what you have. They care about the results that you get. They care about the results that you get. The results that you get them. And so for us, it's like when we teach the community design process, which by the way, it's a free course on the community, on the Mighty Networks website. You can go watch Gina's 9-part session about community. It's literally the best content I've ever seen on the concept and idea of community. Like when you watch that, you will get better results than anything else that you do. And by the way, Mighty is the best tool. So we also have great content and we're helping people get results. But this is the difference, is like our closest competitor, Fernando, they just put out a report earlier this year that said they got $250 million of results for their people. Well, Mighty Networks in the last year have gotten $500 million in results for our people. And so it's like the results speak for themselves, where it's like, it doesn't matter if you've got all of these features and all of these tools, all these, whatever. It's about results. And so for us, we believe it's like, we could tell you all day long about this thing that we've built, or we could talk about how to help you get results. Right. And that's the reality. The people don't pay you for the features of your thing. They pay you for the results that you're going to get. And so what I love about Gina so much is she has not only built the best product for community and the best platform for community, she also she literally is like one of the, if not the pioneer for online community and the way of thinking about online community. She's been doing it for a long time. She knows it better than anybody else. She thinks about it more than anybody else. She has the best point of view on the world, and the results speak for themselves. End of story. And I think that's the whole deal here. So like, cool. Like I could come on here and tell you that Mighty Networks does this and it does that and it does this. It doesn't matter. First of all, if you don't believe that you can get results, you're not going to sign up for it. And second, if I can't equip you with the know-how to get those results, it doesn't matter if I've got a million other features that I didn't even talk about. So why sit here and talk about the platform in a way that is only mildly interesting, instead of saying to you, hey, Fernando, do you know that with 30 people in a community, you can make $15,000 a year? And you're like, I think I could do that. And I'm like, great, follow this method that a lot of people have gotten results on. Go follow this method. Awesome. Okay, great. You don't care what platform it is at that point, because I've got the actual results. Yeah. And so I think that's the reality. That's why we do it. It's like we are obsessed with getting results for people. And I think that's the most important thing that you can do. And so that's why. Like that's when I met Gina, it was like, because by the way, when I met Gina, I was like, community is the worst business idea ever. Like, why am I going to like, why am I going to like create this thing that I have to like create content for on like this treadmill that I can never get off of before? Should change my mind about that. Those are actually the worst performing communities, so the ones that are all about content.
Yeah.
I'm like, but like the reality is, like it's about results, and that's why we care so deeply about creating the kind of content that allows you to believe that you can get those results. First of all, like, oh, I can do that. That's really simple. Okay, yeah. And then also that gives you the step-by-step process to get those results. Like that's way more important than us like talking about, again, and we've shipped 117 new features this year, so our platform is awesome. But it's not about that. It's about the results that you get using the tool.
Yeah. So there's two chats here because this is this StreamYard is embedded within within Hey Summit. And so Kevin McGrew, who was the last speaker, who you met on the way, you know, as he was leaving the stage and you were going on the stage, say he loves the ConvertKit in your story. And one of the things, the ironic things about my relationship with Kevin is that he told me, start a community, you know, get a community going, Fernando. I said, yeah, that's cool. And, you know, as I always do when I say that, yeah, it's cool. I say, yeah, and I ignore it and I just keep on forging ahead with whatever. So I wanted to say, Kevin, I'm sorry. You're right. Starting a community is the best thing I could probably do. You know, get 30 people in my community. Listen, it's 7 minutes to go to the end of the hour. We're time is up. We're almost up. Any last minute word? Any closing remarks that you'd like to make? Something that's really kind of like top of mind for you that you think marketers, founders, and you know, even solopreneurs, creators, content entrepreneurs need to know.
Yep. This is it. Pull the slingshot back as far as you have to find the product market fit. Like it may feel like you're going backwards, but as long as you're continuing to find that product market fit and find that moment where like Fernando, I think I saw a twinkle in your eye about community today. I think I might have changed your mind about community today. It's like, that's how I know we're starting to get product market fit around all of this, because it's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. You lean in a little bit more, your eyes get a little bit wider. Stay in the tension for as long as you have to define that product market fit. And everything after that is going to feel automatic. And I think that is what I want people to understand here. It's like, it's not about becoming a better summit thrower. It's not about creating a book. It's like those things are the results of finding that thing, finding the thing that you're like, oh my gosh, yes. Seth Godin says it the best. And I'll never forget till the day I die. He's like, if you can create a song that one person starts tapping their foot to, then 10 people will. And then 100 people will, and 1,000 people will. And that's a different way of talking about product market fit. It's like, stay in the tension, keep searching for that moment where you see somebody starting to tap their foot to the tune that you're playing. And that's when you know. And that's when this whole system that you just showed, the whole flywheel you just showed, that will work like cake when you've got it. It will be so easy. And it's better to build a thing that feels easy than to be pushing a boulder up the hill your entire career. So, Fernando, I'm so grateful that you had me here and gave me the chance to talk today. Hope this was helpful, and I'm really grateful for being here.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, and thank you, Darrell, for coming to the talk. Again, Darrell is the VP Growth for Mighty Networks. He's a much in-demand speaker, marketer, etc. So I feel like as though it was a coup to get him to say yes to being a speaker at the Strike Marketing Summit. So thank you so much for that. And you know what, everybody, we'll see everybody tomorrow, bright and early at 11 o'clock in the morning. Well, not so bright and early. I guess we could sleep in if you're taking the day off tomorrow. But 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, Central Standard Time, which would be 5 p.m. UK time, I think. Yeah, 5 p.m. UK time, 6 p.m. Europe time, and 9 a.m. Pacific time. See everybody there. Talk to you later. And thanks a lot, Darrell. Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. So everybody, just wanted to say thank you so much. We will see each other. We will see you all tomorrow at 11 a.m. You all have the individual talks. You have the schedule for the Strike Marketing Summits. You just go to summit.strikemarketingsummit.com and go to schedule. So /schedule, summit.strikemarketingsummit.com/schedule. Don't make sure to reserve your space in the individual talks that you want to go to. We have some really great talks tomorrow at 11 a.m. We have Sharif Subair. He is the head of marketing for Hey Summit, which is the platform that I'm using to do this. So he's at 11 a.m. and he's going to be tuning in from Nigeria, right? So he's 11 a.m. is kind of a little bit in the evening for him. 12 p.m. we have Pablo Gonzalez, who was on the category design panel this morning, and he's going to talk about hijacking your industry conference without a big budget. 1 p.m. Central Time, Audra Carpenter. She's going to talk about your Content Hub OS, right? How to use automation, like N8N and Zapier, et cetera, put together with AI to create an automated content operations thing. Brian Eisenberg, one of the OGs of digital marketing, at 2 p.m. Central Time. He's talking about storytelling and brandable chunks, a sort of a type of category design to make sure that you're memorable and mentioned by LLMs when people are starting to use that for search. Rachel Starr launched with Connection, how to build a business through a summit. So she comes on at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. She's talking about using summits to build a community and the community as a business. So really kind of leaning into what Darrell was just talking about. I'm talking at 4 p.m. Central Time about how Strike Marketing can take you from invisible to unstoppable. I'm going to really drill down on this methodology that this summit is all about. And then at 5 p.m., Eduardo Ortiz Ramirez, he's going to be tuning in from Mexico to talk about digital transformation for intelligent reinvention, how to use AI for your company's operations so that you can have a good data structure to enable all of this creativity to happen. See you all tomorrow and sleep well. Bye-bye.